Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Find Out podcast. We got to start off with an apology. We did not drop an episode on Thursday because Luke, Zach, and I were at Netroots Nation in New Orleans, meeting with a bunch of progressive activists and, had a really important meetings and discussions. And I think we got a lot of big plans. And part of the reason that Zach's not here is that he's working on a top secret project that we'll be able to talk about in a few weeks. And Chris is actually off with his family for some well-deserved time off. So you're going to have to just deal with me, Rich, and Luke this week. But just to kick off, Luke, this was your first conference ever attending a political conference before. Just curious what you thought.
It was an experience. I had never been in a spot that had so many straight up like-minded individuals. I mean, I don't think I could have said something that they disagreed with, that someone in there disagreed with. Everybody in there is fighting for their own individual thing. And it's all stuff that really, really matters. It's pretty fucking cool.
But wait, I was told that the left is hyper focused on canceling everybody, and you have to be really careful with what you say, and that you're not allowed to have any opinions about anything.
Crazy if you just don't say fucking slurs and hatred. Nobody's got a problem with you. Crazy.
I know. I mean, for us,
those are deeply held beliefs, Luke. Deeply held beliefs.
We had some, when we started White Dudes for Harris, we had some reservations about the community because, obviously for good reasons. And it's been really great to see everybody in the progressive community has sort of welcomed us with open arms. And, even at the conference, I mean, Luke, you had several people come up to you who treated you like
I think my name is actually Shane.
Yes,
one guy came up to me and said I was Shane, and I was like, okay, sure.
Didn't quite nail it, but it was good.
He stuck the landing. We took a picture.
Yeah. We had some really good conversations. We talked with Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, who was great. We talked to Representative Justin Pearson from Memphis, who was one of the two members of the legislature that got kicked out for basically protesting for stronger gun laws. It was great to talk to him. So it was really a good shot in the arm of energy. And I think for those of you wondering, is anyone coming to save us? There are a lot of people who are working on this.
We say we, but really Mr. Interview Extraordinaire here was the one that was yapping with all these people. It was pretty insane. Tim was like, wham, he was in there, Real good work.
Well, I mean, he's our Beltway insider,
know,
so
right?
This is he gets in there.
Give a super secret handshake or some shit.
When you do this long enough, sometimes some of it gets a little easier. So
I think they just tap their feet under the edge of the stall when they're in the bathroom at the conferences, and that's how it gets.
Everybody knows.
Any Republican senators at this, you might have been referring to, but
they don't even go to their own fucking town halls. They're not going to come to something like this.
That's true. But it was fun to be in New Orleans. Great community, great progressive community. I think a lot of people are gearing up for a big fight next year. So stay tuned on that. But let's talk about some more pressing matters. Trump, in his ever longing desire to get rid of the Jeffrey Epstein conversation, has created another political stunt today, which is to activate the National Guard, 800 National Guardsmen, to put in D.C. And he's also taken the D.C. police under federal control because it's a district, and so he can do that. I have lots of thoughts on this, but I lived in D.C. for 10 years, but I would love to hear from people who didn't live in D.C. to hear what you have to think about this first.
It's dumber than fuck.
Yeah.
Rich?
That's good.
I think we can wrap up. Actually,
I think we're done there.
Pretty much done with the episode.
4 minutes,
I've heard things about when you live in a red state, you have to understand the blue cities are spoken of as if they were these hellscapes where there's just, if you're white and you go into the wrong neighborhood, you will be murdered, that's how they talk about it. And so it's funny because I'm actually wearing a shirt I got in St. Louis, and St. Louis has a significantly higher per capita murder rate than Washington, D.C. And yet I had a delightful time with my family in St. Louis. We did a whole bunch of things. So
you go up in the arch?
We did not go in the arch. We took pictures in front of
one thing they're known for.
It's pretty expensive.
I know it is. It's fucking sick.
I'm not rich, Luke. I mean, I am rich.
You are.
No, so didn't mean to talk about, tourism in St. Louis, but while we're on the subject, there's they took a shoe factory from 100 years ago. It's the coolest thing ever. St. Louis getting some free exposure, and they converted it into a playground kids museum, a children's museum.
Place. It should not be a children's museum. That is like a fucking all ages.
It's insane. Well, right. I thought you meant because like children get chewed up in the gears or whatever.
That
But
place
no,
is awesome.
It is awesome. We spent an entire day there. It's like a 500,000 square foot, 400,000, absolutely massive factory, like a 6th floor factory the size of a city block. And the whole thing now is just all kid stuff. And so you go in, but it's all made with old factory parts. And so you go in
tunnels and shit. It's real cool.
Yeah. It's absolutely wild. So anyway, when I hear about DC, like I know people in DC, and you can look at, like, you can just trust the stats. I guarantee, just like in LA earlier this summer, at the worst of the worst of the worst, you could go out and get brunch with your family or go for a jog, probably in the middle of the night.
30-year low right now.
Statistically, you would be fine.
So maybe I should be doing the get fucked at the end, because I'm really, as someone who's lived in DC for a long time, this is really pissing me off because, first of all, as Luke said, the DC crime rate is at a 30-year low. It's lower than last year's drop. And actually across the country, violent crime on average is down.
Well, that's because Trump. It's because Trump.
Right, exactly, right. But, as Rich pointed out, Memphis is actually number 1. That's a red state. And I think St. Louis is number 2. That's a red state. I believe 8 of the 10 most deadly cities are in red states. But overall in this country, the rates have dropped. I mean, the 80s, it was bad. Some of the 90s, it was bad. But, it hasn't been that way. But, this is Donald Trump's way of getting away from the Jeffrey Epstein list and continuing to vilify both homeless people, because he was like, we're moving the homeless people out of DC.
Well, he told them to leave first.
Where the hell are they going?
Who are well known for being flush with cash and being able to make crazy life changes at the drop of a fucking hat.
Right. And he is suggesting they can't be around the Capitol, all this. First of all, I lived on Capitol Hill. I lived both on the northwest side and the southeast side, which has actually tended to be where more of the crime has been. And I lived there 20 years ago. I did not fear for my life. And if Donald Trump wants to get rid of homeless people, then Donald Trump should support policies that lift people out of poverty rather than cutting $1.1 trillion of Medicaid, which is going to create a whole lot more homeless people. He would invest in mental health services, which he has never done. And instead, he's trying to villainize, really what he's trying to do is villainize homeless people and people of color. Because he's trying, what? Sorry. I was on my rant.
Weird interjection.
You're going. I was going to say, why are you puking all this Marxist, socialist, communist stuff on us? Like this is un-American how you're describing.
You fucking loser.
Nasty woke.
Well, you have found me out as the secret Marxist.
Nasty woke.
I just want everybody to burn. But seriously though, if you live in DC, I don't care what neighborhood you live in, the cops are everywhere. This is not there are not enough police. Also, the other thing that I love about this is that Donald Trump told us that he was not allowed to call up the National Guard in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, which was the most violent day in D.C. in probably 30 years, if not ever. And so, the suggestion that these 800 who can't make any arrests, by the way, they're doing what they're going to do in L.A., which is probably sit on the floor of a gym instead of doing anything.
Real quick. Did you guys hear about the rogue shitters in L.A.?
What?
There was several people... No. National Guardsmen who were taking shits in Humvees as a sign of protest of being out there.
Are you serious?
There's a squad of phantom shitters of the National Guardsmen, and I hope somebody picks it up in fucking DC.
If I ever need to come up with a grunge punk band name,
Phantom Shitters.
Phantom Shitters is top of the list. Write the music later. You always name the band first.
Yeah. Yes.
They're going to sit out there and they're going to sit on fucking concrete and they're going to play video games when they're not on duty. That's what it's going to be again.
And how much? I know that the LA, they called up 5,000 and it costs somewhere in the neighborhood of $150 million, I believe. So, it's not going to be the same, but even if it's 20% of $150 million, this is the administration that told us that we can't afford Medicaid anymore and we can't afford food assistance, but we can build a $200 million ballroom off of the White House.
He donated his salary, Tim. He donated it. Don't even be mad about that.
Yeah. And how much did he charge in golf cart fees last time?
Knows?
It was $100 million, something like that. But anyways, it's just nonsense. He wants to get away from Jeffrey Epstein. It's not working. And actually, I saw a poll this weekend, which was actually showed the first time I have seen basically agreement from both Democrats and Republicans. Over 85% of both want the Epstein files released. And instead, what he did is try to get this grand jury testimony released, which the judge shut down today. But like a lot of MAGAs are saying, see, Democrats are doing it too. But like, no, he didn't allow it because he knew it was a smoke and mirrors and there's nothing in there for you to see in the grand jury testimony. Right. You just need to release the files. Why won't you release the files? And he's willing to spend silly. They don't exist. He's willing to spend tens of millions of dollars to call up National Guardsmen who have other jobs, by the way, to do this nonsense. It's just, it's just
well,
ridiculous.
If you saw the last couple of jobs reports, those people probably don't actually have jobs. So now, he's really it's like
he's charity. Really like distracting with this hand and then protecting himself with this hand with this whole fucking 14-year-old adult bullshit. That's what I think.
Why don't you talk about that for a second? What is that for?
He's so convinced that there's these gangs of teenagers in the U.S. that are, violent and they're killing everybody. So he wants to start charging 14-year-olds and up as adults, but not just with violent crimes. That he wants them to be 14. He wants 14-year-olds to be adults in related to sex crimes as well, which is definitely a look for a guy who's trying to keep himself safe.
Yes, there's so many reasons why charging 14-year-olds as adults for any crime is a horrible idea. If you want to create a whole generation of people who then have real hard time, getting past those mistakes as a 14-year-old, like I don't want to be held accountable for what I did at 14. And let's be honest, he wants this to mostly go after brown and black teenagers as well. He doesn't give a shit about anybody else. He just wants to punish people and make his base feel like they're being taken care of because he's taking care of, quote unquote, the bad people.
And this all came because let's all remember who was attacked. The whole reason he's doing all of there's the distractions, but big balls. 19-year-old fascist named Big Balls who worked for Doge and is now like working for he has some job and like he's a federal employee. He's a 19-year-old troll and he's just getting paid by by taxpayers, by us.
Like everybody's like, oh well, it has nothing to do with that. And then you go look at like Utah where they just saved that fucker where they expanded the Romeo and Juliet laws so that it wasn't fucking
well, so explain what.
Oh shit! I always do this. There was there was a guy that was of some relation to
he was in the legislature. It was not the governor. It was
no. It wasn't the governor. But like one of his family members got in trouble for being involved with someone that was not of legal age. And lo and behold, they edited it so that, when you're 19 and you're with, I think it was a 14 or 15-year-old, maybe 13. It might've been 13. So that's not as bad. It's still, I forget what the crime that he's being charged with is. Might be sexual misconduct, but it's not
a felony, right?
It's not a felony, right?
Yeah. Well, you're hearing the hypocrisy on the right about this stuff, right? Like it's like when their buddies. Right. Yes. You hear this whole like save the children thing. And yet Trump has been credibly accused of sexual assault by 24 women. This person's like nephew or cousin or something.
I'm pretty sure it's nephew
was charged with rape I think it was rape. And they changed the laws to lower the age of consent into the lower teen ages, which is about as disgusting as it comes. And actually, Luke, it reminds me of something that you've told us. What is the law that you would want to propose and the reactions you would get? Yeah.
Raise the age of consent by 1 year. You can also extend the Romeo and Juliet law so that because right now, if you're like an 18-year-old and you're a 16-year-old, it's fine. So then if you're a 19-year-old with your 17-year-old, it's fine. But anybody who protests it, who's above the age of 35, drop kick them into the fucking sun. Because the only reason they could possibly want to raise the age of consent is because they want to be with someone as young as legally possible. And as a result, fuck them. Get rid of them.
Well,
I'll sign that.
Did we get our Get Fucked segment already? I think we did.
Fuck.
It's just like it just goes back. The overarching Republican principle is do as I say, not as I do. And that is applicable almost across every issue, right? And
fucking look at Ryan Walters in Oklahoma. He's been protesting all the LGBTQ books because they're porn for kids, and then he gets caught watching porn in his fucking office by his aides. They walked in, there's naked ladies on the TV.
And
That's not fucking right.
He's still like, no, I don't know how that happened. I'm like, well, you have to try pretty hard to get that on. So anyways, back to DC. It's just a smoke and mirrors thing. I think the worry though is that he is potentially using this as a testing ground to go into other cities. And I'm going to guess that he's not going to go to Memphis next.
Well, the thing is,
Chicago's next.
He already tried this with Los Angeles, and it backfired because nobody took his bait. Karen Bass came out, and they were walking down the street. Gavin Newsom called us bullshit. There's no governor of DC to call us bullshit, but they are shutting him down.
Music festival in LA. Well, so people have been noticing that if you say the word protest or you say the word like anything related to this is what we're doing, every algorithm there is will shut it the fuck down. So they've been calling the protests that are going on in LA and have been going on in LA for like the last 6 weeks. Somebody figured out that if you use the word concert or music festival in relation to that, the algorithm pushes it. So all of a sudden I'm getting these videos of like thousands and thousands of people with thousands and thousands of views of them protesting in LA that have been going on for weeks. And you go back and you look, anyone that says protest, fucking 2,000 views. But now suddenly these music festival ones have thousands of views.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this. We were even joking this weekend that, like, the way to make sure a video goes nowhere is to talk about, what is it? It was Epstein. It was
Epstein, Gaza, vaccines, sex crimes, and ICE.
ICE. Yep. You put those all together, you can guarantee to have a video that gets nowhere. But I think that's why it's important for those of us working on this to create spaces that are not, they're not dominated by an algorithm. And I think that it's harder to grow them. This is why we're doing this. But that's
why you guys are so important to listeners and also you guys.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think when I think of like what we're going to talk about on this podcast versus what I can put into a TikTok video, which is by far the most restrictive and the most finicky or completely inexplicable algorithm, it all tracks back to profit, because TikTok desperately wants to first not get shut down. But even if they do get shut down in some sense, TikTok wants to be profitable and they want to be tepid and broadly entertaining. They want people dancing and talking about health and wellness and gym routines. They do not want people talking about anything that's real, because real shit can be depressing or induce anxiety. It can make you anxious. It can make you not want to go buy things. And when I back to the point, when I think about what we can talk about, what we do talk about freely here, it's in part because I hate to use the word like beholden to big money or whatever, but it's that same concept. We are not funded by anybody except for our listeners. And because of that, we only hold ourselves accountable by what we say to our listeners. And so we can just say the honest things. We can say when ICE is arresting people without having to use
bingo. If I said that phrase, the video's getting 2,000 views anywhere.
You can't say genocide. You can't say ICE. You can't say deportations. You can't even say the names of people who are being victimized.
TikTok language.
Vaccines.
Unalive.
Can't say vaccines.
You can't say vaccines.
Real bad.
You can't say, people saying, getting unalived by the jab or whatever, like when they're spreading their conspiracies, like it's such a clown show. And I hate that.
And the thing is, you can track it directly back to the first time TikTok got banned. Yeah. It was so much better before that.
Oh, yeah. No, we all because obviously we all compare how we're doing. Most of these guys are in the hundreds of thousands. I'm still trying to catch up.
Everybody go follow Tim on TikTok. We want him to get to 100,000.
There we go. But yeah, we all dropped at the same time. So it was very obvious that like they had made a change. Yeah. And I think they made the change because they knew they were going to have to sell the US arm. And it's looking like one of the potentials is Larry Ellison of Oracle, who is a Trump supporter. And so that'll
be great for our business.
Right. Yeah. Well, it would be great. I mean, probably if he throttles it even worse, it could. But, I think that we need to be prepared for some of these social media platforms to not be conducive to full free speech as much as they say it. And that's why creating shows like this, that like we have the only, like Rich, you made a great point. The only restrictions we have is if our audience tells us they don't like us doing something, and we do listen. We're not going to we're not going to go based on one or two comments, but like if the community is saying we want you to talk about this or we don't want you to talk about that, like we have to listen to that. So it's a lot harder to build a following off of a platform that doesn't have an algorithm, but it's really important because then you guys won't lose us, and that's why we're always asking like, if you could support us with a $6 a month on Substack, or you could buy some merch. It helps us to build this into a much bigger community so that we can really affect change next year, then obviously in the presidential as well, because we can't rely on social media platforms anymore. Like those days are gone. And we still have a massive advantage on this, but like we are way behind. But now they're all owned by people who are bowing down to Trump. It's a real problem.
Bad people.
I'll give you guys, sorry, I was checking to make sure my mic, sometimes my mic cuts out. Tap, tap, tap. Like the ASMR videos where they're just like tapping and shit the whole time.
Those are the worst.
I hate it.
Let me give our listeners a really sharp example. I did a video a couple of days ago about Logan Ireland. Logan Ireland is an absolute badass master sergeant in the Air Force, 15 years. Logan Ireland is married to a woman named Layla Ireland, and she's retired from the Army. And they are this awesome military power couple, patriots. They also both happen to be trans. Logan is a trans man. Layla is a trans woman. It's a wild story, but they're amazing people. And Logan was in the process of being forced out of the military because he's trans by Pete Hegseth and all of their insane executive orders, and initially was approved for was approved for full retirement at 15 years. Typically it's 20 years, but they said anyone who was like 15 to 18 years could apply and get full retirement. And that was just revoked, and Pete Buttigieg did. He's covered it broadly. These people were Logan and Layla were on Ellen in 2017 when this first became a thing in his first term, but then he didn't go through with it. So, and now Logan is fighting this in court because they denied him full retirement. So after 15 years of service, he's decorated. He's been promoted many times. He's loved.
They care about the vets, though.
His leader, I can't remember what they call it in the military, but the person who's in charge, who had to give him that news, was crying when he told Logan that he wasn't going to get military retirement. So Logan's going to have to find another career now, unless he can win in court. I told that story.
Some dickhead with fucking bone spurs said, "We don't like you."
Yeah, unfit to serve. They said people with gender dysphoria, which Logan I don't think has been diagnosed with gender dysphoria. That's a separate thing, and it's a controversial sort of bullshit diagnosis. But they're saying people who are trans are unfit to serve, and obviously that's stupid and insane.
He's only been serving for 15 years.
I know, right? Under
also,
Obama, under
like
Trump won.
Trump's fucking arms off.
Yes,
Logan is absolutely jacked. Beard, like Logan is a man. Like walking in America, Logan is a man. There's just nothing. You don't have to say anything else about it. But back to the point of how we got here. I told this story in a video that was on every platform. That story is, I believe, over 2 million. It's at 2.1 million views on Instagram right now. Instagram doesn't pay anybody for any content, so they just ship it. If it's doing well, they just send it. It's at about 400,000 on YouTube, and I think it's at like 200,000 on TikTok. So that story, even though I have twice as many followers on TikTok as any other platform. So
it's a scam.
Because I said the word trans, guaranteed, because I said the word trans in that story, because I'm not going to tiptoe around it. I'm not going to not say the words.
Language. I don't say G side. I don't say on live. I don't say any of that shit. If a video is going to go, it's going to go. Yep.
Right. I'm not going to play their game. But so they're suppressing this story that people desperately want to hear. And this is just one little tiny example, but it's this case with every single topic that we cover, every person, every topic we cover. You have to, they will just choose that an important story doesn't get out, even though people want the story, because it's not conducive to whatever, for profit or political intentions they have for their app.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that with the TikTok case, because obviously they have to negotiate with Donald Trump because he's the one that holds the keys of whether they're legal or not. It doesn't take a conspiracist to look at that, especially since the data that you showed is very clear. Like people, that was it. And I saw the video; it was very good. It should have traveled further.
Well, Logan's got an amazing story.
Right. But like amazing, but you like the way you crafted that. You've had plenty of videos that have been millions on TikTok, and it's just interesting to see the points on the other side. But I think it's just that's the reality, and that's why podcasts and other forms of media are so important, because they can't censor us here, and they want to. Right? They want to go after us, and like I said, if Larry Ellison is the buyer for TikTok US, like I think left-wing creators are going to just get absolutely pummeled. Worse than it already is.
And there will be no way to prove it, because everything is behind closed doors. Free speech is, when it's Nazis on Twitter, suddenly free speech is the most important thing in the world, and they should impose all of these regulations on private companies so that they can protect Nazis. But when it's a person celebrating a trans member of the military on any other platform, suppress it, and nobody even says shit about it. Right.
Right. Also, let's do with the Republican quote unquote logic for another minute. Like most Republicans would also say that Logan should use the women's restroom, right? Like this big jacked man with a beard. Like the whole thing is just so nonsensical and absurd. But like their position is only discrimination. That's the only thing that matters in this.
They don't care about anything else.
There is a 15-year veteran of the military we're going to say is not qualified to do that job. I mean, it's complete bullshit.
Suddenly,
like no negative remarks, constantly promoted. And also, like as Luke pointed out, it's pretty rich for a guy who like literally got draft deferments for no good reason, just because his dad was rich. And now all of a sudden he's going to dictate who's in the military and who's not. Also, like what, like, it's one of those things I just don't know. How could anybody look at somebody like that and be like, they shouldn't be in the military? Like, it's just like, I mean, I don't want to be in the military. So like, I'm fine with anybody who wants to go. Like, and it's just like this whole, like not giving the pension benefits is just an element of cruelty that it just shows that they are
That's all it is.
mean spirited. Yeah. The cruelty, like that's the Adam Serwer thing, right? From 2017, 2018, MAGA, the cruelty is always the point. It's not a policy. It's not like lower taxes, because clearly like they've been celebrating the $150 billion tax increase we got through tariffs. It's cruelty. And they want to blame somebody for their position in life. So now that we've covered the whole fact that the Republican logic is bullshit, we also have some proof on our side too, because we've been seeing AI chatbots that several right-wingers have installed on their platforms spewing the truth out, including, I think, Rich, you said you saw it on Truth Social. Was that right? What was the question that they asked the AI bot on there?
Well, they asked them a whole bunch of questions, and that's the best part about it is they asked if the 2020 election was stolen. It said no. They asked if tariffs were boosting the stock market, and it said no. It said
for tariffs.
Barack Obama is a popular president. Said that his Trump's cryptocurrency investments pose a potential conflict of interest for Trump. And they said that the January 6th attack called it an insurrection and said that it was violent and and was directly linked to Trump's baseless claims of widespread election fraud. And this is on Truth Social. So it's like it was made it, I think, 24 hours, and now we'll see what happens next. But Trump's going to be upset.
It's an interesting one because we've also seen it on X or Twitter or whatever. Like Grok has been constantly used to dispel things that Elon Musk says, which is actually quite hilarious. The people underneath it said, you can ask Grok, is this correct? And then it will give you an answer. And this is one of the instances where the AI stuff, like I'm surprised that Republicans, I'm sure they're going to come up with some like regulation to like limit or whatever, but like they, this is where like we are not on equal sides. Like AI tools they literally scour the entire internet for information are telling Truth Social people that the person telling them stuff is bullshit. I mean, I don't think it's going to matter, but it is nice to see that like
deep state.
Something.
Yeah. There's something, right? It's like at least but it is funny to see it. But I don't know. I mean, I would like to think that would be eye-opening for people, but if you're on Truth Social, it's probably not going to matter.
Well, I mean, it's just another case of reality having a liberal bias, and like, there's no way you can get away from it. And I think our people, we keep acting like, well, the like Trump is going to concoct this like world where Nazis or thrive and everything is suppressed and truth is fake and free speech is banned. And yet every time he tries something, the world swallows it up. Like the world comes back and just says no. We're seeing it. We see it constantly. Saw it in Los Angeles, like back to the protests. Like he does things to try things because he wants to control things. And he can't control anything. Like he quite literally is in control of nothing. And every time he tries something big, the world comes back, claps back, shuts it down, and then he claims victory and he moves on. So I'm sure that he'll have some explanation for this. They'll get rid of it, or they'll turn it into like a fixed answer, like an old school chat bot from 10 years ago that just pipes back like Donald Trump is king, and like there's only like 5 programmed answers, but it won't last. And it's because you can't run from reality. Like it's going to catch up. Just takes time.
It does seem like in this term, like his numbers are terrible, and his numbers, you can kind of see it from LA, to be perfectly honest. Like when he did that, and most people saw through it as bullshit, right? Like it was like there was no incident until you intervened and made it that way. And I don't think this is going to work either. I think he is flailing. And I think that's why he's doing all of these things, right? Like Epstein is still front of mind of everybody. Yep. And he is just like, I'm going to distract this way. I'm going to distract that way. And I think the scariest part, though, is that it like people could get hurt. And I think that is, a lot of people got hurt. Like we haven't even talked about this, but like the CDC shooting the other day, which was born out of misinformation about science and vaccines in particular. That person said that he got vaccine injured, which the likelihood of that is almost zero. But he was told that. And I think that's where like Donald Trump is the most dangerous, is that he is feeding people lies about everything. Our cities are crime-ridden cesspools. These vaccines, well, he hasn't said it directly, but like, as HHS director,
he's willing to let it be adjacent to him, though. He's not going to say no.
Right. No. Right. And he cut $500 million of research into mRNA vaccines, which are the ones that were used for the first time ever on the COVID vaccine, but have shown, and they worked incredibly well, and they've shown promise in curing cancer and AIDS. And they just said, no. We're not doing that because we are sending a signal to our base that vaccines are bad. And we know we don't believe it in our heads. I don't think they do. But like, we're going to use this as a political wedge because we don't have much else left.
Sounds about right.
Jeez, Tim.
Sorry.
No,
I'm a little ranty today.
Stealing my thing.
I know. Maybe I should do the get fucked this week.
Well, these plague-rat-licking motherfuckers can't seem to realize that, if you don't want a vaccine, don't fucking get one. But people that just should have them, you shouldn't be able to take them away.
Yeah. No, right, I something that's happened over the last, really the last 10 years that we've been like microdosing on misery to be inoculated from misery. I think some people call it dissociating, but, you look at how far the left has come just since Trump took office, and you look at all of these attacks on everything, everywhere, all at once. You can say, well, yeah, and like a movie, we're watching it happen, but in real life, bad things are happening to people. But we've kind of gotten through some of that to where, instead of just being paralyzed with fear, like, well, we can't let any bad thing happen to anybody ever, which would be, I guess great, arguably great. Bad things still do happen, and they are still happening because of what he's doing. And we have to just like that's going to be true, whether it's acceptable or whether we find it appropriate, or whether, like, it doesn't matter what we call it. He is doing bad things, and he's doing bad things through the CDC, through the military. Like, he's just doing bad things everywhere. And we actually have a role in fighting that. And I think there was a period of time where I mean, certainly from like November to January, we were all like, we knew it was coming, but we still knew Biden was president. And so it was still a little bit different. It was real dark, for what, January, February, March. I remember when Doge was doing all of this shit, and like people were just sending us messages that I don't know how we're going to do this. Everybody was paralyzed. Gavin Newsom comes out fighting. Pritzker comes out fighting. The Texas Democrats come out fighting. The military parade, the Los Angeles protests, like Doge is shut down. I mean, they're hiring back people at NWS. Like, he will never admit defeat. And yet he is getting defeated everywhere, constantly, all of the time. In the process, bad things are happening. And so like people will say, like, don't be so optimistic, bad things are happening. Yes, bad things are happening. Odds are the vast majority of us will make it through this one way or the other. Like, just like COVID 2020. A lot of people lost their lives, and it was because of Trump and because of a lot of reasons. And yet, like, we're all here. The people who are here are here. The people who lost family members, they have, come through it. Like, we have to be tough, and we have to be tougher than I think any of us wanted to have to be, going through the next 4 years. But I think we've started to get there, and I'm seeing more people who are not ignoring like the costs and the pain, but they're pushing through it, and they're focusing on the long, like, yes, okay, bad things are going to happen, but let's stay focused on the bigger picture. Let's stay focused on the midterms of 2028, and let's start making lists of all of the things that we are going to commit to doing.
We're going to get these motherfuckers that's the thing.
When the time comes. Yes.
My biggest fear is that we come through this and then we just go, okay, and we win in 28 and we just go, okay, that's that.
Business as usual.
We tried that once. It's time.
Yeah.
These fucks have to have consequences.
Well, I think, as we get closer, I think it's going to be it's a barometer for folks of whether they'll be successful or not, if they are going to hold people accountable who have ruined countless lives. And I don't think that anybody who is not willing to do that is going to get support within a Democratic
100%.
primary.
I just
don't see it. Yep. And I think that, we
and
see.
You deserve it. You deserve it is the thing.
No, I think that, the candidate that ends up winning is going to have some sort of Marshall Plan for the United States, which, for those who don't know, there was this after Europe got completely decimated, tens of millions of people lost their lives. The U.S. helped rebuild, and look at Europe now; it's in a relatively great shape. We're going to need that for the United States because they are destroying a lot of things, and I don't mean going back to what we had before and restoring what we had before. I'm talking about a new vision in which government actually works and is nimble and efficient and responsive to people in 2028 and beyond. And I think somebody who is able to put that together and also holding people accountable is going to be very successful in the primary. And I think the people who are just like, let's just reverse everything Trump did is not the answer.
No, you run on promising two things. You say, we're going to get every one of those pricks that ruined your fucking lives and hurt so many people. And you say, we're going to fix everything, and this is what we're doing to move forward. We're not doing this we're going to just fix it and then go back to status quo.
No, I think the harm reduction approach failed. It got us through 2017 to 2021 because Trump was such an incompetent leader. He didn't know how to do bad things. Like, he tried, he wanted to do bad things, but he couldn't figure it out. And he still was surrounding himself with, enough insiders who were like, hey, like, low key, don't do the bad thing.
Don't do that.
They talked him out of it. Now he's completely unhinged, but and untethered, but that still doesn't mean he has unlimited power. Like, we still can do things. And when we take the midterms, I think I won't be surprised if it's a 30 to 50 seat swing. Like, that would be like a historically accurate, massive swing. They're going to gerrymander 5 seats in Texas. Like, we can do that everywhere. Like, it's going to be a wash, and it's just going to make people angrier. And they still have to go win those votes. Like, they're counting on Hispanics staying with Trump in the midterms. I'm like, dude, you have no idea what kind of buzzsaw you're walking into in the midterm elections. You look at, he's losing independent voters 65-25, 65-30 right now. You don't win anything anywhere when you're losing. Like, he won independent voters, like, or maybe Kamala won him by a point or two, but it was very, very, very close. And now he's 20, 30 points underwater, 40 points underwater with independent voters. Like, he's not going to get to a better place. And in fact, it's just going to get worse and more.
Get worse. The more he ruins people's lives,
he tries to pull, the worse it's going to get.
And the polling among young men, he's cratered. I mean, I think he won like 60% of young men. He's down in the 40s now. I mean,
that was like, oh, I'm going to vote for Trump, and then I'm going to buy a big truck. I'm going to build a really cool gaming computer. I'm going to live off steak and eggs. And then they went, oh shit, none of that works. And
it's up like 20% from last year.
That are my age that I've watched like before the election. It's like, oh yeah, you want to get big in the gym and you want to drive a nice truck and you want to have something to do when you get home from work. Fuck you. None of that's going to happen. You're going to have a real shitty life.
Usually what happens with those people is then they turn 28 and they hurt their ankle. And then they're like, hey, government, I can't work right now. And then they go, oh, suddenly I'm not a libertarian anymore.
Yeah, right. You know what they say about libertarians, right? They're just liberals who haven't read enough books.
It does fall apart when you pull on that thread a little bit.
As soon as you look at it just a little bit.
And it will. There was Biden was this ancient insider guy, Kamala was his VP. Like there was a very strong, I'm going to stick it to the old people thing. Like that's what young voters always do. Like young voters, like we need to very badly need to not overread into this, like the media trying to say like, well, Hispanic voters and black voters and young voters are all lost to Trump forever. I'm like, dude, Trump isn't going to be on the ballot again for one. You think JD Vance on the ballot is going to pull 20% of black men? Like, come on.
Well, I mean, how many stories do we see of like people in these like red rural communities becoming outraged that somebody that they know is being deported by ICE? Like these stories are everywhere. And I think that, I don't think we're going to peel them all off, but we only need to peel off a few percentage points of them. And there's so many people.
Peel them, just make them not vote.
A lot of them are going to just stay home. They're going to go, oh, I'm not going to
vote for a Democrat, but I don't want that thing and the other thing.
I like Trump, but Vance can't do it. And, there's nobody else. And they'll just sit it out. They'll sit it out or they'll vote third party.
I mean, but I think some of the Latino community in particular, though, I think they will swing because I think they thought that he was going to go after
talking about young men there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But the Latinos, I think, and black men too, because, I think they're seeing like, Trump's solution to everything is over policing and deporting immigrants and all of these things like that are just like, in local communities, when you put a name associated to somebody that's affected by it, all of a sudden it becomes very real. And I think a lot of Trump voters live in a world where they don't think, I'm not sure that they know these things are real or that they won't affect them. So they don't care until it affects them.
Until it affects them. That's how it always is. It's selfishness with them every goddamn time.
Till it eats their face.
So, all right, we're at about 45 minutes. Luke, we promised a get fucked segment, but I feel like you did. Oh, you got another one.
I've got one.
Okay.
There's enough to go around, I think, most days.
Oh, there's always enough. This is one I hit it the other day, but TikTok said, no, we're not going to let that one go. It goes out to a very, very horrible, horrible person. Her name is J.K. Rowling. If you missed it, I mean, it happens all the fucking time. Basically, the only thing she uses her social media for is to attract trans folks. She has no interest in, promoting love or like she calls herself a feminist, but does she use any of her money to help women? Fuck no. The only thing she uses it for is to attack fucking trans people. And as a result, I fucking hate her. She is quite possibly one of the worst people on the fucking planet. But specifically the other day, she made a post where she said that if you have egg producing equipment, faulty or not, you're a woman. It's a really fucking stupid thing to say for a lot of reasons. One, you can have egg producing equipment and have XY chromosomes. So that doesn't make any sense. You can have XX chromosomes and not have parts that match. There's people with XXY chromosomes. There's a whole fucking deal. And before you tell me that you don't know anybody like that, if you've ever met a redhead, it's the same fucking probability. So don't fucking tell me about that. But also, it's really shitty to people who've gone through hell that is infertility to talk about faulty equipment. You're a nasty fucking person and get fucked, J.K. Rowling. All right, that's my spiel. Fucking nasty person.
I agree with all that.
Horrible person.
Has anyone gone from so beloved to so despised in such a fast way?
I've never understood the love because her books are nostalgic for people And I recognize the nostalgia, but from an objective point of view, there are a lot of problems. Calling a black person Kingsley Shacklebolt, whose only job is to blow shit up, is a really, really bad look.
Shacklebolt.
I didn't even know that.
To put all of the people who handle the money in the Wizarding universe are short people with balding and then like hooked noses.
Big noses.
Bad. Very bad. The fact that one of the only Asian people in the book is named Cho Chang. Bad.
Right.
It's fucking horrible. It's horrible. And like, so from an objective point of view, fucking books are trash. And if you want to read something better, go read the Scholomance books by Naomi Novik. 10 times better. And it doesn't have the fucking racism bullshit.
Well. Okay.
All right. I every time I talk about her, I get raged.
She's but like
she's an awful person. She's an awful person.
She wants to be cruel, right? Like
you
could tell she likes it. And
she talks about the fact. So there's the new Harry Potter show that's coming out that they're like announcing the castings. Yeah. And I see all these people getting really happy for it because they're like, oh, my nostalgia. But like she already promised that her cut of the profits from that show is going directly to doing what Hermione has been doing, which is influencing anti-trans legislature in Britain, which is fucking horrible.
Like imagine that's your issue, right?
Imagine that's your issue, that you're a billionaire and your goal is, I'm going to ruin the lives of people who've never hurt me. Fucking garbage. Express elevator to hell going down.
Yeah.
It's really tough because the millennial generation loves Harry Potter so much.
I look at this and it's like, oh, how can you live? Like you've got a fucking Harry Potter tattoo. Oh, I would want that shit lasered off immediately. Expeditiously.
I think for most, yes. I mean, I've never read them and I've seen half a movie on a plane. So like, I don't know this community very well, but I can say that I remember when those came out, there wasn't any inkling that she was
no.
bad as she is. Right.
That's why
there wasn't at all.
I'll never get a tattoo about from a book series or a movie series that's still going on until the people are dead and have been dead like 15 years. Because it's the same thing with Neil Gaiman. That dude's a fucking sexual abuser. And it's like, oh shit. I really liked American Gods, though. I mean, it's really bad. And like the thing about him being dead is that when you say you separate the art from artist, at least then the artist isn't profiting off your support, which is the difference. Always the difference.
Yeah. I mean, I think the moral is that it's just like power, money.
So not to promote piracy, but if you want to watch that show, sail the high seas for it. It's pretty easy.
But power
or get
money,
the books at the library.
Or get the books at the library. Exactly.
Power money, they corrupt people. They corrupt people if given enough time. And I doubt J.K. Rowling started out with any intent to do the things that she's doing. And yet
maybe a trans woman stole her man.
Right. Or trans man stole her woman. Or I'm not sure. Yeah. But she found herself with too much time and too much money on her hands
and not enough creativity.
And she thought, what am I going to do with all of this power? It must be because everything I touch is perfect and every opinion I have is correct. And this is why we need term limits, right?
See, me personally, if I woke up with $1 billion, I can promise you I wouldn't start attacking trans people.
Same.
Yeah, because you're not a bad person.
Yep.
Okay.
I think she's been a bad person the whole time. She just didn't have the money to do it.
Oh, I don't think
the wealth
to
suss it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think
she's like, oh shit, I don't have any. There's no consequence for these bad opinions.
I mean, I think that's right. I mean, I put her and Rudy Giuliani kind of in the same boat where in 2001, for a brief moment, he was like America's mayor and everyone loved him. And now he is debarred and like was in like a Borat movie trying to like remove his pants with someone he thought was like underage or whatever. And like all this shit. So like he's fallen quite far too. Also the only person that Joe Biden has ever dragged in real time was Rudy Giuliani, which is still one of my favorite clips from, I think it was 2008, the primaries, when he said, all Rudy Giuliani says is a verb, a noun, and 9/11, which is still one of the most devastating takedowns.
A noun, and 9/11. I hadn't heard that one.
You should go look it up. It is so good. It is so good.
Joe Biden was the master of sick burns in the old days, man. When he was sharp, he was. Oh yeah, you did not want to catch an elbow.
That is a fucking bar.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on YouTube. You can check it out. I watch it every once in a while because it's like just incredible. But
it was a true mic drop moment in the middle of a debate, And Joe Biden had said very little in the debate, but like when he said things, they mattered. And you knew when he was going to chip in, it was going to be something a little bit sarcastic, a little bit old man, like he had that Scranton, that blue collar tough in him. Yeah. And he leveled. I mean, he ended Rudy Giuliani's primary. Like he ended his candidacy with that line, because it was
with that.
It was like a month of repeat on every cable news network.
Also, like, Biden basically made it okay for everybody else to say the same thing because they were all thinking it. And so I mean, Rudy's always been terrible, but there was that moment where nobody really knew that. And
he took 9/11 away from him. Yeah.
Yeah.
As his claim to fame, right? As America's president, he just ripped it out of his hands in 10 words or something.
And then what did he have? The 90s crime rates were some of the worst in New York City. And he oversaw all that. So, well, anyways, I think we've made it to the end, guys. We did it. The three of us.
If we just keep yapping, we find our way.
Yep.
Yeah. I will say we did attempt an episode while we were in New Orleans, and we all watched it.
Real bad. Real bad. Was
a combination of
there had been alcohol involved, and it did include my first taste of bourbon. Fucking floor varnish. Don't want to drink that again.
I'll teach you. I wasn't there. I'll teach you how to drink bourbon correctly.
It sucks ass. I don't want to drink it.
No, you'll get there. Years. I promise.
You'll get there. You'll get there. But I also I have trouble sleeping, so I'd also taken my sleep aids on top of the bourbon. So by the end, I had lost complete control of the show, and I was just like, "Can we just end?"
We're just going off.
Yeah, I just
to a halt.
Where is this recorded, and how do we let paid subscribers get access to it? Paid subscribers are going to want to see that. I think that's a true paywall type of content.
It would require some editing.
Yes.
So we will have to see, but we had a very hard time getting started. Every time I did the "Hey everybody," which now everybody makes fun. It's just like
Tim kept saying, "Hey everybody," and Zach and I just started cackling.
Yeah, and then at the end, I sort of like tried to wrap it up, but I was like I was like well past my expiration date at that point with the medicine I had in me. And
his Best Buy date was gone.
Oh, I was done. I was done. So we'll see. We'll see if people listen this long and then ask for it afterwards. Maybe we'll find a way to release it someday. But the other thing that I think would be much better is if everyone just becomes a paid subscriber just to support the show.
I do like that idea.
Yeah, which you can do at findoutpodcast.substack.com. Like we said, we don't have anything behind a paywall. I think we would love to not have everything behind a paywall, but we also have to pay our bills as well. So if you could do that. We also have merch. We are very, very close to releasing some new merch, but the existing stuff's up there at findoutpodcast.com. And you can support us there too. So guys, we made it.
Thank you.
Thank you everybody for listening. We got, I think 3 or 4 Luke Get Fucked episode segments in there.
A lot of
rants today. So thanks. And we are back to our regular scheduled time. So we'll see you tomorrow morning, Tuesday, when you read this or listen to this. And then we will be back on Thursday. So have a great day, guys. We'll talk soon.
Later.